There's no shortage of online business ideas that could help you make more money and help more people, but unfortunately, common advice leads to common results. After being in business online for the past 20 years, there are 3 dangerous online business ideas that I've noticed that are keeping entrepreneurs burnt out, broke, and stuck. And that's exactly what I'm going to share with you in this video so you don't make the same mistakes. Hey guys, what's going on? Yuri, Elkaim here, CEO and founder of Healthpreneur. We help health professionals build scalable coaching businesses online without the grind. And whether or not you're a health professional is irrelevant, because this advice is going to span the chasm no matter what type of business online you're looking to pursue. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because there is no shortage of videos out there showing you how you could possibly make money and what type of business you could start. And that's all good, okay? I'm gonna share 3 what I consider to be dangerous pieces of advice that I've seen float around the internet. And I'm gonna give you a bit of context for why I believe they are to be dangerous, okay? So the first idea that I don't think is the best advice is having a product suite. Now, let me clarify this. Specifically, having a product suite early on in business. So what I'm talking about here is if you're a coach, an expert, a consultant, if you're building courses, coaching programs, etc., or even if you have a product business, right? Because here's the thing, is that when you have a lot of products, understand a couple things happen. Number 1 is you complicate your business unnecessarily. In my first business online, which was a health and fitness business, we helped 500,000 people to better health, and it was awesome, to a degree. We also had about 100 different SKUs between courses, membership sites, supplements, physical products. It was very, very complicated, and that's one of the reasons I ended up selling the business, because I wanted to get out of it. So number 1 is, as the business owner, you create a tremendous amount of complexity in your business the more product offerings you have. And simplicity scales, complexity fails. So the second reason that's an issue is that for your customers or client base, when they have a lot of choices, they ultimately have none. This is the paradox of choice. If you've ever been to a restaurant and it's like 10 pages of menu items, you're like, what do I even choose? It's very overwhelming. And in fact, most people would rather have clarity and less choice than an overwhelming amount of choice, because when you have 1,000 options, you ultimately have none. So it creates more complexity for your business. It creates more confusion for the people you're looking to serve. And I think that especially in the context of a expert-based business where you're a coach offering some type of online coaching program or a course, when you have too many offerings, it's very hard for you to even keep up with what's going on. Like if you think about like one single entrepreneur offering a high-ticket coaching program, VIP one-on-one, a do-it-yourself course, an ebook for $47, it's just too much stuff to even manage, and it's unnecessary. Because even the best companies in the world have a select few products that account for the bulk of their revenue. In fact, Apple, 77% of Apple's revenue comes down to 2 product offerings: iPhone and their online services. So like Apple Music, iCloud, etc. 77% of their revenue comes from those 2 offerings. So if you've heard of the whole Pareto principle, 80-20, we see the same thing in pretty much any level of business. So my advice is, if you're starting out, is to focus on one thing, is to do one thing extremely well and to dig as deep as humanly possible. As your business expands over time, then you have the opportunity, bandwidth, resources, team, money, etc., to potentially expand horizontally. The whole premise of what I want to share with you here in this video, honestly, is like, if you can understand one word, and that's context, I think it'll save you a tremendous amount of frustration. When you hear all these different people telling you, this is the best thing, this is the best thing, this is the best thing, like, you got to step back and ask yourself, okay, cool, good to know. How does this apply to me? How does this apply to my skill set, my passions, what I can do well? Because just because it works for someone else doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work for you, nor does it have to, right? There are 100 ways up a mountain, but you don't even take all 100 of them. And also, because there are 100 ways up a mountain, in this case, building a successful business online, it doesn't mean that all 100 are right for you. Now, in my previous business, I did everything you can think of, from products to membership sites to low-ticket offers to affiliate marketing, email marketing, launches, summits, book launches. I mean, like you name it, we did it. And a lot of it we did very successfully. And some of it was just a disaster, right? And I'm sharing a lot of this stuff from personal experience, 20 years in the trenches online. Okay, so everything from low ticket stuff all the way to very high ticket coaching and everywhere in between. So I'm sharing this from my perspective. And again, I'm just sharing my perspective. You can do what you want with this. So first thing is having a product suite, I don't think makes the most sense. If you've been around for a while, back in the day, the common advice was you have a funnel, right? You have a lead magnet, it leads to a tripwire for $7 or $10, and then people buy a $47 product, and then an upsell for like $97 or $297, etc. And eventually people will go up and up and up and buy your premium thing. Those days are long gone. I'm sorry to say that. No, I'm not sorry to say that. It's just the reality. And I share that my first business was built on that. My first business was built on that very model. And it took 7 years to make my first $1 million. When I started Healthpreneur in 2017, we did the complete opposite. We said, instead of having a product suite, we're just going to offer the best possible solution, one solution, at a premium price. And we're going to help people who have that problem instead of walking them through this ascension model, which is just Band-Aid, 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 eventually outcome. We're just like, what do people want that we serve? What are they struggling with? And let's offer them the full enchilada. So instead of having this ascension model, we just went right to the top. And because of that, we went from 0 to $1 million in revenue in 7 weeks. So how you build your business, the business model you choose, the complexity or simplicity you choose has a very, very direct impact on the type of business you build, the revenue, profitability, the fact that you're burnt out or not burnt out or whatever. And so I'm sharing this with you to hopefully help you navigate some of these confusing pieces of advice out there. So I'm just looking at my notes here. That's the first thing. Second thing is, second dangerous idea. This is actually a really big one, especially considering you probably search for this very topic on YouTube, is chasing money, opportunities, or the easy path. I'm going to be very clear about this. I don't know if you realize this. The Klondike Gold Rush, okay, almost now more than 100 years ago, less than 10% of people found gold. And less than 10% of those 10% actually got rich. So 1%. And there were thousands of people who lost their lives in the pursuit of an opportunity, which was obviously the gold rush that was found in the Yukon and Alaska at the time. So in any time, there's always going to be that. Like we've seen that with crypto, we've seen that with drop shipping and Amazon and FBA and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just going to share my 2 cents on this because there are a lot of business gurus out there, a lot of experts who had a good month and are now teaching others how to do what they did. There are a lot of business gurus who are teaching stuff they've actually never done before. And just to give you a bit of context, so we help health professionals build successful businesses, but I did that myself for 13 years. So it's not like, oh, I think health professionals have money, therefore I'm going to help them build a business. No. I am a health professional first and foremost. I was in the trenches for 20 years, 7 offline, 13 online, built a multiple 7-figure company, helped 500,000 people to better health, became a New York Times bestselling author, built one of the biggest health brands on the internet at the time. And because of other people in our space asking me for business advice, I eventually segued into Healthpreneur. See the difference? I actually did what I teach. There's a lot of nonsense out there from people who are looking at, I think there's an opportunity to help experts build a coaching business, or and they just jump on the bandwagon. I have received no fewer than, in recent memory, 3 DMs from young guys, because I can see their pictures on Instagram. And they're like, hey man, like, I'd love your advice on this. I'd love your video on like how to build an online training business. I help trainers build 6-figure businesses online. I'm like, nice. How long have you been doing that for? They're like, I just started a month ago or a year ago or whatever it was. And I said, okay, that's awesome. Like how long, like what type of business did you have before this? Like how long had you been training clients? And in all 3 scenarios, it was never did it, or I did it for like a couple months and they just jumped ship to help other fitness professionals build a business. I'm like, dude, you trained a couple clients and now you think you can help other trainers build a business? Like, are you crazy? Right? It's not even ethical. So I think there's a lot of that nonsense going on, and it's because they're looking at the opportunity. They're saying there's more money over here than directly working to helping the consumer, right? B2B versus B2C. And that's not necessarily true because listen, I've been in this space for a long time. Trainers and health professionals don't necessarily have that much more money, even though we think they do, okay? So one is being overly optimistic, and I think it's causing a lot of problems. Like what's happening, and I'm sure you've seen this, is you see these ads nonstop on social media, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, etc. And it's the same stuff over and over again. I'm going to help you get 10 clients in 10 seconds or you don't pay. We'll help you make 30K in 90 days or work with you forever. You have all these ridiculous claims and promises, and people are more overwhelmed than ever before because, again, a paradox of choice. There are so many options out there, and now it's like, well, people are paralyzed in making a decision. So the sales cycles have become longer because there's so much nonsense out there and people don't know who to trust or believe. And I think part of it is because there's a lot of coaches, quote unquote, that are just jumping on opportunities because they think there's money there. I think it's a bad idea. Second thing, like if you look at stuff like drop shipping, Amazon, FBA, I'm going to make a statement that's going to ruffle some feathers. I think a lot of these are junk businesses, to be honest. I mean, I know people who run these businesses. I don't know all people who run these businesses, obviously. But what they're doing is they're sourcing shitty product from China, Alibaba, etc. They're slapping different wrapping paper on it, and they're selling it on Amazon. And I think it's horrible, to be honest. I mean, I think there's a time and place, like, yeah, cool. I could use a new iPhone charger or a headphone charger, like really gimmicky, little scratch the itch type of products. I understand it, right? You could work from home. You don't have to do anything. You just I understand the allure. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not here to judge because you can build a business in whatever way, shape you want to build. But for me, it's not my cup of tea. I don't think we need more shitty products in the marketplace. And unfortunately, Amazon has turned into that a little bit. It's more challenging to find a very good product on Amazon compared to just going to your local store, right? Because what's happening is everyone's sourcing from the same source, right? Here's this one case. Everyone buys it from Alibaba and then they put their own logo on it and it's the same garbage products every time. And so, I don't know. I mean, I just think they're businesses that have no soul. And this leads me to my next point, which is if you consider how a lot of investors invest in businesses, and I'm not saying this is the case all the time, but a lot of investors will look at businesses and aside from the numbers, they are most interested in the founder or the founders. They want to know, what are the character traits of this individual, right? Like, who is this person? Are they reputable? Do they have good, are they a person of good substance? But they also want to know who is connected to the business. Like, what's the story here? If you see Shark Tank or Dragon's Den, you'll often see entrepreneurs share a very compelling story of why they started their product or business. And you can see the sharks, like they viscerally get moved and they're connected to that. And that's in addition to seeing a business that has legs, they see that as something very attractive. Because I think a lot of people are looking for more than just profit. They're looking for more than just a product or numbers. They're looking for something that makes a difference in this world. Now, you may not have investors. Most businesses don't, nor do they need investors. But you actually do have investors, just not in the way you think. You see, if you're bootstrapping your business like I did, your investors are your customers, are your clients. They're the ones investing in your business. They're giving you the money. And in return, you're providing a service or product, some type of value. So in the same way that investors look at a business, potentially to acquire it, customers and clients, especially today, are looking and they're sniffing around and they're making sure that who they're buying from has some degree of soul. And I think there's three things that are really important to consider: origin, mission, and vision. So if you have no origin connected to what you're doing, I think that's a terrible idea. And this is this is what I mean. If you have no history associated to what you're doing, then it's simply you're chasing opportunity, you're chasing money, you're chasing some type of allure for an easy path. That's fine. It's up to you. But I'll tell you this, it's a lot more compelling to build a business around something you're connected to. I'll give you an example. So I've got a friend of mine, raised by a single mom. He's a fitness expert, and he decided to build a business to help moms lose weight. And over the course of about 5 to 7 years, he built one of the biggest businesses in the States, specifically helping moms. Now, he's a guy, wasn't married at the time, what on earth does that have to do with him helping moms? His origin story, the origin where this all came from, why he wanted to serve this audience, was because he was raised by a single mom. He saw her firsthand sacrifice her well-being, her happiness, everything to provide for him and his brother. And because of that, he, in some way, shape, or form, wanted to end her suffering, and obviously a lot of other moms' suffering, which is why he wanted to empower women, moms, to take better control of their health, better care of their lives, and put themselves first. So it wasn't that he said, oh, moms have a lot of money, I'm going to go help them. He's like, no, I actually truly care about this because of my history, i.e. origin story. Make sense? So for me, like my origin, like I only help health professionals because I am a health professional. I was a trainer, nutritionist. I was burnt out, underpaid, overworked, all that shit. And eventually I learned how to build a business. And I was like, man, there's a lot of other amazing health professionals who need help. And I was like, man, like I want to build my life around doing this. And I love business and I love health professionals, and let's marry the two of them together. It wasn't that I said, oh, like I'm definitely going to help doctors because they have a lot of money. It was never a consideration. In fact, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of health professionals aren't as well off as you think they are, okay? So origin is one thing. Mission is like, why do we exist, right? The reason we exist is to help health professionals build scalable coaching businesses that transform more lives with heart, to help them impact more lives and lead themselves a better quality of life in the service of other people. That's why we exist. If we didn't exist, a lot of health professionals would suffer, and millions as a byproduct would not get the health improvements that they require to live a better quality of life. That's our mission. Our vision is to transform the lives of 1 billion people on the planet, right? And the reason and how we're doing that is by helping health professionals build better, scalable, more profitable businesses in the service of other people. Because if they can build better businesses, they can help more people. And if they all help more people, then we all collectively help more people, right? Towards 1 billion people on the planet. I believe there can be a world in which every man, woman, and child has better health and they do work that they fundamentally love to do. And so that's kind of the vision that we're building with Healthpreneur. So you'll notice that none of that is about, well, where's the most profit in the markets? Who has the most dollars in their wallets, right? And yeah, like you obviously want to be choosing a market that has a viable opportunity in the sense of like there's an actual problem there that they want solved. Because you can't just build a business around your passion. You have to build a business around where's the problem in the market that you can solve. And ideally, if it has the overlap between your origin, mission, and vision, you will start to build a brand, a culture that people want to associate with. Because they realize it's not about the money, it's about something bigger. And in today's day and age, not is it only investors, not just our investors looking at that stuff, customers and clients are looking at that stuff, potential team members that you might be hiring are also looking for that. When we're hiring people, they very, very rarely talk about, I'm applying to work with you guys because of the money. No, they apply to work with us because of the mission and vision that we have, the core values that we promote, and the culture that we've created. They want to be part of that. And so do your customers, so do your clients. They want to be part of something bigger. The world doesn't need more shitty businesses. Like most businesses are very average at best, right? Like think about the last time you were on an airplane. You went to a hotel, you went to a cafe, you went to a restaurant. Like how many of those experiences were unbelievable? Like, I don't know, it's few and far between, right? I was on a flight recently, a couple weeks ago from Australia back to Toronto. And we had a flight attendant on one of the legs who right away was just exceptional. He just had stuff dialed in. I fell asleep in my seat. He came by and he dimmed the window because we're on the 787 where they have the dimming, not the shade. And he put the blanket on top of me. Like, I didn't ask him to do that. He did that because that's how he shows up, right? And he's a flight attendant on airlines. But that same mentality is lacking from a lot of businesses. There's no soul, there's no forethought, there's no thinking about how can we make this exceptional. It's just about how can we put out a shitty product that people will buy. And there's a very big reason why a company like Apple is the leader in the space, because they think differently. They want to create exceptional products that people absolutely love. And I would encourage you to think about how can you create something that goes beyond the opportunity, the money, etc. Because we don't need more of that stuff. Okay, dangerous online business idea number 3 is selling low ticket. When I came online in 2005, I was selling ebooks for $47. And then several years after that, with the commoditization, if you will, of information because of technology and because everyone started writing blog posts over 20,000 words, you couldn't sell an ebook anymore. No one was going to buy it because they could just read a blog post and get the whole thing. So what's happened over time is information has become widely accessible, right? That's only been furthered now with ChatGPT and AI. So the value of information is close to nothing. What people are more interested in is implementation, is accountability, is wisdom, is direction, and less so around, here's an ebook, here's a PDF. Now, again, I'm talking specifically in this case around a coaching expert type of business, where if people are coming to you because they want to transform their life in some way, shape, or form or solve a problem, they're not going to do that by reading a book. They're not going to do that by watching a video. They're going to do that by you working with them in some way, some capacity, or investing a higher amount of money, not low ticket, because when they pay more attention. So low ticket used to be a thing back in 2005 to, let's call it 2009, maybe 2010. And then all that stuff started going by the wayside. So even today, if you have a membership site, right, $47 a month, $20 a month. My previous business had 3 membership sites. Okay, talk about complexity. We had 3 membership sites combined. They had thousands of members on a monthly basis. The problem though was the retention was 3 months, which is the average retention for most membership sites. And most people didn't do shit because they weren't paying anything, right? I mean, 20 to 50 bucks. So there's no skin in the game. Therefore, they don't show up. They don't show up. They don't get the results. And I'm like, well, am I here to have members or am I here to actually help people achieve an outcome? You're never going to help your people achieve an outcome if they're paying little to nothing. I promise you this. I've seen this for 20 plus years. When people don't pay, they don't pay attention. The more they pay, the more they pay attention because they don't want to waste their hard-earned money. People will show you what they value based on where they spend their time and where they spend their money. And if they're not willing to invest any money, they're not willing to do anything. So number one, from a I truly care about helping people perspective, low ticket is a massive disservice to the people you want to serve. But Yuri, I want to make passive income. Have fun with that. Here's what you do instead. You build a very, very robust business that makes a lot of money and a lot of profit. You take the profit out of your business and you invest it. There's your passive income, okay? You're not going to make passive income from your active business. Like, it's very challenging to do that. So do not pursue anything business-wise because you want to make passive income, because it doesn't happen. And it's not going to happen in the first couple of years at the very minimum. The other thing with low ticket is if you just think about the margins. Let me ask you a question. Do you think advertising has decreased in cost or increased in cost over the past 5, 7, 10 years? Correct. The answer is it's increased in cost. So Facebook advertising 10 years ago was less expensive than it is today. Very much like real estate. Do you think advertising is going to go down, like the cost of advertising will go down, or up as we go into the future? The answer is obvious. Very much like real estate, it's going to go up. That's the nature of the game. So if advertising costs are going up and you try to sell something sub $100, supplement, ebook, or anything else, it's impossible to make that work. Like the margins are so slim, you either need a tremendous amount of cash in terms of venture backing, so you have a long runway and you can acquire clients at a loss or customers at a loss, but I'm assuming that's not your case, or you got to find a way to liquidate your ad spend relatively quickly. And that's just not going to happen with a low ticket offer. Low ticket offers are like, again, when I say low ticket, I'm talking about ebooks, apparel, supplements, like membership sites, like anything like sub $200 average order value. It's very, very hard to make work. Now, the only time it's going to make sense is if you're a master at driving traffic. Let's say you want to build $1 million business. How many $50 items do you have to sell? A lot, right? I don't even know what the math is on that. Maybe 20,000, whatever that is. How do you drive that amount of traffic? Whether you're relying on affiliates, paid traffic, anything. How do you make that happen? In order to have that volume of traffic, the only way you can do that is by also having very solid conversions. So how do you do that? Well, you have to become an expert at copywriting. You have to become an expert in terms of offer creation. You have to become an expert at building out a funnel and upsell sequence that increases the average order value in a significant way. And those are very, very hard skills to build. And they take a lot of time and a lot of practice, tested, lost money. I'm sharing this from personal experience. And it's just very hard to crack that code. Now, am I happy that I was able to build those skills? You better believe it, because it gives me a lot of context and nuances for stuff we do now, but not in the low ticket space. And I can speak to that from personal experience. Just as an example, so my previous business, one of the last launches we did was for a physical cookbook, and it's a free plus shipping offer. I'm sure you've seen these before. Pay nothing for the book, you cover shipping. How do you think those businesses make money? Let me tell you. On the back end, you're given opportunity to buy a number of different upsells. So in our case, we had, check this out, we had 9 possible different directions a customer could go after they hit the checkout page. So credit cards in, they pay $7.95 for shipping, and then there was 9 possible upsell sequences that they were thrown into depending on how we set it up. Each of those 9 upsell sequences had 4 upsells, and we were split testing 36 different variables to find the best combination to increase the average order value from $18 to $22. I'm like, what am I doing? And we sold tens of thousands of that cookbook, okay? But I was like, this is the last time I'm doing this. Like, the juice is not worth the squeeze. The amount of operational complexity, it was just a friggin' nightmare. So I share that with you because to make low ticket work in today's day and age, you have to be a master marketer, masterful. And I'm talking like, even if you're selling supplements, or if you're selling clothing, or you're selling information on the low, like sub $200, you will not make that work by just slapping up a page with a checkout button. I promise you, okay? You have to be full-time focused on this. You have to be maniacal about your numbers, and you have to be an absolute wizard with marketing and messaging. Most people listen, that can take a long time. And again, it's just so much harder to make that work. My personal favorite, if you're asking, don't sell low ticket, don't be opportunistic and chase money and go the easy path, and don't bother having an extensive product suite. Like, what do you do instead? It's a good question. If you want to know what I'd do instead, and if you want to know what I would recommend, if you're a true expert, health professional or other, who actually wants to help people make a lot more money in the service of those people, and actually have a business you love, then what I'd like to do is direct you to the next video in which I'll share exactly what I'd recommend in that situation. So for the sake of time, we'll call it a day here. Hope you've enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe, because I've got tons of other videos to help you build a successful online business. And if you want to see what I would recommend in the case if you're the expert and you want to help people at a high level, make a lot more money with a lot less grind, watch the next video, which will pop up somewhere over here, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like.